Happy holidays, happy holidays, happy holidays. It's a great time of the year. We're clearly in the spirit, excited to talk with you guys for all that's going on in the NFL and things. Thank you guys for tuning back in. Appreciate you guys showing love to all of our videos we've been posting recently. We've been rolling with the NFL things, just added in the NBA video as well with Matt. I'm discussing our first quarter awards and all of that. Definitely some good things there. Definitely some more things to discuss with that going forward. Excited to get into the NBA and basketball stuff and all of that the rest of the season. But we're here for week 15 of the NFL. We're going to talk about what went on this last week, a lot of upset, surprising games and things that went on, a lot to discuss going into this week of football. We're going to have our him zone picks, and we're going to discuss all the not him guys. I'm sure we're going to have a long list of those this week, as well as our power rankings. We'll revisit that, and then have our quick picks and get out of here. So good stuff on the way. Again, happy holidays. We're in the spirit. You can't fully see my shirt, but, I got the Christmas vest on, as well as Santa Claus back there. I call him something else, but I won't call him down there. Alec got the hat on, and, we're excited to be here. So good stuff on the way. Appreciate y'all, and let's get this thing rolling. All right, so we are back here for our Christmas episode of the pod. Thank you guys for tuning back in. Again, I almost forgot. Make sure you subscribe to this show and show love to us wherever you guys follow us. We appreciate all the love that's going on all over the place. TikTok and all those things are going up, and great to see the interaction going on there. So good stuff with all of that, and some good things going on, at least on one side of LA. The Chargers look pretty decent right now as they beat the Titans last week, surviving that game, beating them 17-14. Now still second in the AFC West. But moving up the charts in the AFC now with a somewhat firm grasp of a playoff spot, it looks like, with the sixth spot and with how the season should play out, should be able to maintain that and actually get in. So great that they are gone from borderline team to for sure in. We were debating if they were going to make it. We were debating if they had to start slightly blowing things up in regards to Keenan Allen and guys of that nature who have answered the call and have responded greatly and doing their thing. So it's great to see from them. And now the real question is, with the switch they've now turned, it's pretty much a full jump. But the question I'm about to ask, we went from borderline playoff discussions and all of that, and now it's how they're performing. The question for you, Alec, is, are the Chargers now a Super Bowl threat for real?
I know. I saw you had that on there. I was a little bit surprised by it. And my first gut reaction was like, no way. But I kind of don't want to discount their chances just because the AFC, the NFL, really, it is kind of wide open in a sense. There's only a couple clear ahead of the pack teams, and I don't even know if I would firmly say that anymore as it was the Chiefs, but the Bengals look like they could be the best in the AFC.
Correct.
In the NFC, I like the Niners and I like the Eagles and the Cowboys, but those don't look 100% firm either, and we still are looking for the Eagles to get fully tested. So right. Yeah, I think the Chargers, I think they can win out. They got the Colts, the Rams, and the Broncos next. So I think that would be a 5-game win streak and 11 wins on the season. I think they'll have as good a chance as anybody really in the AFC. I think there's still a couple of teams who you probably favor against them in playoff matchups, in the Chiefs and the Dolphins probably, and healthy Ravens maybe even with Lamar, but I think they have a shot if they keep improving. They're healthy. It's been a nice surprise, I guess, because as you talked about, we talked about them probably not making the playoffs, and they flipped that on its head with the win over the Dolphins and then the Titans. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually with you. I think they are a Super Bowl threat because of all the things you mentioned, the AFC being as it is, and just getting in and anything being possible. I think they have a team that can make things happen in these playoffs and have put themselves in great position to potentially make a run there. So very glad to see that. Glad that we had to flip from them being a borderline squad to now having the discussion we have right now. I'm excited to see what can go on next with them. I guess I'll throw this in there at the end real quick as well for them. With that being the case now and them rising the charts in the AFC and the league as a result, is Herbert now back in the MVP discussion at all?
I don't think so. Even looking at his stats, obviously I feel like he's a bit he's been a bit handicapped by the play calling and the injuries and so on and so forth. But there's guys at his position who I have ahead of him, and there's some skill players that I probably would have ahead of him still too. So I don't think so for this year. But he's that caliber of talent. We haven't seen the production yet. Other like his rookie season was amazing, but like we haven't seen that production in terms of winning success yet. And he has an opportunity now potentially this year to prove his supporters right in that he is the elite of the elite at the position. But I don't think he's in contention for MVP this year. It'd have to be some 400-yard, 4-touchdown games like in these last few to like kind of leapfrog him into that discussion. I feel like.
Correct. So yeah, I'm fine with that as well. And yeah, so we'll see. Either way, it's still been a good performance from him. We're definitely glad to have him there in LA. Yeah, and appreciate the turnaround from this whole squad. So good things there. Moving on from LA, the Ravens, my squad, they lost to the Browns 3-13. It was a nasty one on Saturday. And yeah, it was disappointing to see how that folded. Though I think you picked the Browns to win. Just seeing still how the game played out. It was difficult to watch all the way through, and was a sad loss. So now we're 9-5. We're second in the AFC North. The Bengals have jumped ahead of us, and we're now fifth in the AFC. So we actually have not fully clinched a playoff spot yet. We need to win, I think, two of our next games, two of our next three, to for sure get in, and at least one for sure. And hopefully we do that this weekend. So yeah, very interesting to see how this thing plays out. I don't think Lamar's back just yet. I think he's going to sit maybe one more week and then return with his knee injury.
Oh, really?
And yeah, at least that's what I saw. He might return, and if so, great. Either way, we're sure he need to win. Hopefully, he can be back on the center to do that. So yeah, excited to see how that plays out in the moment. But in general, with this team, I want to ask you: do you think this Ravens team, as currently constructed, has peaked already?
Yeah, I was going to say, as currently constructed, yes, I do believe they have peaked because, as we've talked about for several years now, I feel like they need more talent at the wide receiver position to give Lamar some more weapons there. I think Dobbins, when healthy, is a really strong running back, and he showed last week too that he's getting healthier. He didn't look quite as gimpy as he did the week before, kind of dragging his leg down the field. So I think at the running back position, they're solid. At the tight end position, they're typically solid when Lamar's healthy. There's been questions I've had about Andrews since like week 6. But I think with Lamar healthy, usually the chemistry is there. So really it's the wide receiver position for me that they need to upgrade because the defense has been back on track in the last few weeks, really back half of the season.
Yeah.
Defense has been back on track. So I think it's upgrading the wide receiver position. But as currently constructed, yeah, I couldn't see them going farther than potentially AFC championship game if they like had a really good playoff game or two. But I can't see them as a Super Bowl team at this point. I think they're a piece or two away at the wide receiver position.
Well, two things. One, to the point you just made, like AFC Championship, that would be a higher peak than I think Lamar has got to so far. If I remember correctly, I think only he's got to.
I guess they will have made it to the divisional round or whatever.
Yeah, they haven't got to a championship yet, so I think we can get to the AFC Championship still. I think would technically put us above our highest peak with this team. So yes, and to the Super Bowl point, I'm sure I see that we may not get to that point. But I think we can at least there's still a chance we get to the championship with how open the AFC is. And also, I would fully agree with you because I do have a whole lot of questions about the offense. But seeing how good the defense has played with the addition of Patrick Queen since we've got him, or not Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith, excuse me, who's been alongside Patrick Queen, playing great in the middle of the field. Them both being there, I think has greatly aided this squad, though the offense has struggled as it has. So with that being the case, I think there still is a higher peak for this team to achieve since I want to say Patrick Queen. Since Roquan Smith has gotten here, outside of the collapse versus the Jags, we've held every team to 2 touchdowns, if that. Like it's been 13 points or less pretty much each week by this defense. So if Lamar can come back and provide any kind of points on the board for us, even last week it was 3-13, and I think Justin Tucker missed multiple kicks in that game actually, which is one of the few times ever in his career that he's done so. With that being the case, I'm believing that we can at least get in position to have games where Lamar can at least get in better position for Justin to make kicks, or Lamar can himself get in the end zone more than we've seen from Huntley and Anthony Brown and whoever's been in the backfield. I think there still is a great possibility that this team makes a decent run, though it has been somewhat disappointing so
I will
far.
say, I do agree with you that the defense has been a major turnaround, and defense wins championships. So I definitely subscribe to that. I will say though, the last 5 games or so have been, or 6 games have been against non-playoff teams that they've held.
That.
So while it has been great, it hasn't really been tested to the level that you kind of would like to see against playoff competition, other than the Jaguars maybe who can sneak in, and who did come back and win that game. So I guess, I don't know. Not that I don't trust the Ravens defense, but it's yet to be tested by a playoff caliber team, and won't be till the last week of the season against the Bengals.
Yeah, we won't fully see until that Bengals game at the end of the year, which very well may be a must-win game for us. So we'll see how they answer to that in that situation. But yeah, I just still seeing, even though it is against lesser opponents, I still do believe that the improvement from the defense, which was a question to start the year. At first, the offense looked okay, at least, and it was like, what's up with the defense? The defense has low-key been bad for 20 straight weeks, and all kinds of stuff was coming out. They've righted those wrongs, at least some way it seems. So now with the defense right, the offense just needs to get it together at least enough, with the defense holding teams down to keep us back in contention. So, yeah, I think there still is a decent possibility. It's a tough thing because I've questioned the coaching and things for some time now.
Yeah,
I've questioned the GM and his talent of evaluation, things of that nature.
Right.
If we somehow do make a decent run, that may justify their moves, and all of a sudden we keep doing what we've been doing rather than fixing all the flaws that we clearly see that are there. But yeah, that's just something we'll have to face when we get there, because as currently constructed, I still do have hope in this squad. So we shall see how it plays out. So yeah, fun things for the Chargers, fun things for the Rams, or for the Ravens, and interesting things for the Rams. They have come back to reality since that Baker comeback win last week, as I kind of was talking about. Had the hater cap on last week and describing that moment and all of that. They have went on to play the Packers on Monday night and lost 24-12. Eliminated from playoff contention and all of that, as we already saw coming and everything. And yeah, it's just now, I guess, back to reality, as I said, for this Rams squad. And a question I have for you is just, what one word would you use to describe this Rams season?
I guess hangover, but it's beyond hangover too. Yeah. It's one of the worst hangovers of all time as far as NFL Super Bowl winning teams goes. Hangover, and I don't know if one word necessarily describes this, but just the consequence of putting all your chips in for one season, essentially. Because we know it's hard to win in this league. So they put all their chips in to win that one, and I think they'll be happy with that for the next 5 years or 10 years or whatever, because you did get that Super Bowl chip, but you suffered because of it, clearly. And as you've mentioned, the fan engagement is going to suffer, so you're going to kind of need to try to win back these fans that you just won for a year ago.
Well, I'll ask this then. To your points that you just said, if the team is bad for the next few years, they lose fans, especially as the Chargers, as we see, are now winning games and look like a decent product. Though they already have the ring, if they're losing games going forward and lose all their fans, is that one ring still worth it?
I think so, just because of how hard it is to win. When's the last Ravens Super Bowl?
2012 was.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago. You have an MVP level player, and you still see like how hard it is to win.
Right.
So I feel like you kind of got to go. If you see like a legitimate chance that we can cash in and win this year, I feel like it's worth it. Maybe not in the exact same way that the Rams did, going all in for veteran guys and sacrificing all your picks essentially in the near future.
Right.
But I feel like it is worth it to go for it when you see that small window, because windows in the NFL are super small. I feel like in other sports like the NBA or MLB, they're a little longer, but in the NFL, I feel like you got to go for it.
Got you. So yeah, we shall see how that plays out. I get what you're saying, and yeah, I guess the one word I was trying to figure it out, and I blanked myself for my one word, but just in regards to what you asked for and what I guess earned, I guess is my word, because they went all in as you described, and now they are, I guess, reaping what they sowed.
Yeah, they had the F them kids shirts, and now they probably wish they had some of those picks.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it is what it is right now. But they have the ring to fall back on, at least to say, hey, we did what we had to do to get that moment. It was a glorious moment, one of the best moments that folks can remember, and recently out here in LA. So we still have to cherish that and appreciate them for doing so. And yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, interesting things to see how things go forward. I guess the last question I'll ask, with Baker now back to reality, do you see life still with Baker going forward at all, or are you still for sure want to get somebody else, I guess, backing up Matt Stafford going forward?
I still can see him as like the stopgap guy, like the in between bridge quarterback. Definitely not the franchise guy for the Rams, but yeah. Like I think McVay too, like, can make it work with lesser talent QBs and just with his scheme and his play calling. So yeah, I think they can be I think they can improve. Maybe not immediately back to a playoff team next year, but I think they can be like a 500 level team with Baker there. Yeah.
Got it. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Very interesting to see. Fun things all across LA, fun things with Baltimore. Excited for what's to come with all these guys. So good stuff there, our individual team breakdowns. Now moving on to the fun part of the episode, the him zone. Definitely a lot of good stuff to discuss this week. I got some names for not MVP. I got some names for him VP, and all these type of things. I'm definitely interested to see who you pick. As well as there were some great plays and celebrations this week that should need to be mentioned. So good stuff across the board. And Alec, of course, starting with you, who you got for your night MVP of Week 15?
Yeah, some of these are basically going to coincide with like the most surprising and funniest endings of Week 15. There was a lot of crazy games, as you mentioned at the top. A lot of these games were close too. Maybe they weren't the best brand of football, but they were competitive and like went to OT and down to the wire. So, but there were some funny finishes. One of them, Mac Jones, was on the the bad end of the historically hilarious ending, where he got stiff armed through the Earth's crust by Chandler Jones, and en route to them losing on that last play of the game with the Jacoby Myers lateral. I'll talk about Jacoby too, but Mac Jones, just in the game himself, he was 13 of 31 for 112 yards passing. Like he wasn't doing anything to help the Patriots either. And then it was a rough look, him getting just punished at the end.
DN tackle quarterbacks. Quarterbacks don't tackle DNs. Like it was not. It just was not. He was set up for failure in that situation. It was what it was.
He's number one on the list. Another QB rookie, but it was a kind of sorry debut in Desmond Ridder. I felt bad, but felt bad putting him on here as a rookie, but it was kind of ugly. He had 97 yards. that was all he had to speak of. So yeah, that was rough. But a well seasoned vet at number 3 is Matt Ryan. I've said for several weeks he just needs to retire.
If not Russell Wilson, this would be the Matt Ryan Award.
Absolutely. They're going to challenge each other for the award at the end. We need to aim for it, but Matt Ryan, he's worse than Russ in the fact that I think he's completely cooked. Like his arm is cooked. He's now the largest comebacks have all been against him.
Correct.
Internationally, in the Super Bowl with 28-3, and now the largest comeback in NFL history with the Colts losing to the Vikings.
Biggest choker of all time. That's nasty, man.
He threw for under 200 yards once again. Just not doing much out there.
No.
You can't even say trick y'all because I mean he's old at this point. Like he's cooked. So
Correct.
Yeah, Matt Ryan. He might be the winner this week. 4 on here, Jacoby Myers. I kind of feel bad putting him on here because like he did like take responsibility for it. Like completely was like that was completely on me. Like coaches didn't say to do that. It was a tie game. I was trying to do too much. And he was, but he's forever going to be connected to one of the funniest endings of an NFL game ever. So I kind of feel bad for him now. He's a decent receiver. He's not like a bad receiver.
Oh well.
But that's tough. But you gotta make the list with how that game.
The Patriot way has sure changed a whole lot in recent years. So yeah, get back to the old guard.
He threw that on a dot to Chandler Jones too. It was like
he was like I thought, and back when he was in college, something like that. So he had to flex his arm a little bit, and it just did not work. No. So yeah, I'm fully with you there. So and tough things with there. Those picks. I want to throw a couple more in there.
I got one that you have here lastly too was Jeff Saturday.
Oh so. Yeah, Jeff Saturday for sure had to be on there. Yes, Matt Ryan deserved to be on there because he's been who he's been for some time now, as you pointed out. But Jeff Saturday as a whole, allowing Matt to choke as he did yet again was a very nasty look. You can't have a 33-point lead, man, going in the third quarter and blow that.
Yeah.
So even though Jonathan Taylor was out, you still had Zach Moss, you still had Deion Jackson, who has shown decent flash in the past. Right. Run the ball, just run the clock out. I don't care if you gotta kneel every down and just hold it and just sit there and let every second run out the clock for the whole second half. But to let that team come back as they did was just completely terrible. So yeah, he for sure, as you mentioned, we talked about how it was a bad hire from the jump. He had a decent flash versus the Raiders that first game. Right. Ever since then, it's been all downhill. And I think the interim tag, he'll be back on the first take. So definitely had to mention him. Another coach I wanted to mention, Greg Roman, who Ravens fans have been fed up with for some time now. Yes, there's a lot of talk about talent. Yes, Lamar is out. Our receivers are what they are, and all these type of things.
Right.
Even so, looking at how the offense operated with the guys that were still there on Saturday. Again, the game was 3-13. We kept that Browns team with Deshaun still shaking off his rust, as we talked about, to 13 points and had plenty of opportunities to put points on the board and came up short every time, literally, outside of one Justin Tucker field goal. Justin Tucker also missed a couple times himself. So respectfully, I could have given him that just because you don't see that from him. But more so to this offense for coming up short this last weekend and looking bad just for some time now as a whole. Ravens fans have been fed up with Greg Roman. If you go on any Ravens servers or Twitter feeds or whatever, you'll see a whole bunch of fire Greg Roman hashtags or whatever. Even accidentally, one of the players himself posted something about that and had to go back and apologize this last week because there's been so much criticism towards him. I definitely, as a Raven myself, wanted to say Greg Roman, we've been we want to see this offense have some more fluidity or just something to believe in with this offense. It seems like there's just so much uncertainty every time y'all get on the field, and it definitely is hard to watch. So Greg Roman for sure is on the list for me. And then lastly, I thought you were going to have yourself Dak. Dak threw that pick 6 versus the Jags.
No, I didn't blame Dak for that loss at all, though.
Sure, and but for that team, for the moment to be what it was a week before the Eagles game, all the hype that was supposed to be there for that game, you wanted to make sure that you got this job done versus the Jags. To continue to build on that, to make this Eagles game great, and to just continue going forward on a positive team that they've been having. And for them to let the Jags stick around for as long as they did, and then for the game to fall apart at the end because of the pick 6, though it wasn't fully his part. His part, I know Noah Brown, I believe that fell down and all that type of stuff. But for the game to end as it did, definitely was a bad look for the Cowboys, and a lot of the hype for that Cowboys-Eagles game has been snatched in a moment with him and Jalen Hurts injury, which we'll talk about later on as well. But I guess pointing somewhere, I guess since Dak technically threw the pick, I'm putting Dak on there as well for the Cowboys blowing that game to the Jags last weekend. So, yeah, definitely a good list of guys on there that are deserving to be mentioned. We mentioned a few. I mentioned a few. Are you sticking with Matt Ryan as your not MVP this week?
Yeah. I think it's got to be Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
I don't want to do Jacoby like that.
That's fine.
And Matt is absolutely cooked. So
Matt or Jeff Saturday, I'm fine with either of those because to blow that lead as they did, it was unbelievable. We had our live reaction on the NBA pod last weekend. It's still in there where we talked. We were talking. We're like, oh, it's 33-0, and we checked again. It was like, wait, it's tied. Like what? Fell apart. So definitely go back and watch that to just see how we reacted. And because of that, for sure, those two had to be mentioned. So definitely some sad things from them. Moving on to my things, best trick play, extended type play, fun things across the league. One of which, of course, going to that game we just mentioned with the Vikings and Cowboys, the touchdown by Dalvin Cook, the 70-yard screen pass that it seemed like I believe it was to tie the game up in regular in the regular time. Definitely was an impressive play. Broke through all the Colts defense and scampered into the end zone. Definitely was an impressive play from him. So salute to him and the Vikings for finding a way to pull off that historic upset or comeback, not an upset, comeback by them. So salute to Dalvin for that. Another great play, which for sure is my play of the week. I said it as soon as it happened on Thursday. Brock Purdy and the Niners were playing. Purdy dropped back, threw a little pump to the left to Ray McLeod, turned the other way, pump fake to McCaffrey, and turned in the middle of the field. And Kittle was wide open. Threw it to Kittle, and he ran into the end zone for a great play. Kyle Shanahan really has his offense clicking even with Purdy under center. And love the play that they drew up for him on Thursday versus the Seahawks. So great things there. Then two defensive plays that we already mentioned. Rashawn Jenkins picking off Dak for the game winner versus the Cowboys was a great one. And then Chandler Jones, of course, his pick six, however you want to describe it, versus the Pats for sure was a great one as well. So great plays from all those guys. Definitely some great things. Purdy for sure. That play was most creative and the best trick play, as I've been calling them. So salute to him in that regard. Moving on, best celebrations. I haven't mentioned in a few weeks, but it's been going on still. Jalen Waddle doing his Waddle definitely has been great. So for sure, wanted to bring that back into discussion. In the same way, Justin Jefferson got to fully do his fake injury into the gritty. They didn't stop him this time. They weren't scared or anything. Fully do it, acted out, and that looked great. So both of those guys have been doing that all season long. Just can always be on this list. I want to bring them back up as I've skipped over them the last few weeks. So salute to them for that. And then two more from the Bills. One, Josh Allen threw a pass. I forgot who caught it. It wasn't Diggs or anybody. I think it was one of their newer guys. But he got in the end zone. It was that heavy snow game versus the Dolphins. Right. And he got in the end zone. All the fans start throw snowballs on the field and all that kind of stuff. They had to delay the game for a moment, just kind of clearing out the area so it wasn't slick, so guys weren't slipping and sliding all over the place. So I'm seeing how the Bills fans got involved a little bit, throwing snowballs in that game, which definitely was a cold one. I think it was Steve Smith was on the sideline. About how cold it was that whole game long. So definitely fun things from them. And then also in the same game, Naheem Hines got in the end zone, did a real cool backflip. That was cool to watch. So fun things across the board. Obviously, a whole bunch from the Bills and the Dolphins game. So I excited to see what guys can come up with in the end zone. The NFL kind of cuts away from guys. They don't really show highlights. So I got to be there and watch games live to make sure I see it. All those and the few others I found online. So
I'm just glad they don't flag them anymore for the
at least that they may not show them full, but they're not flagging them too much either. So definitely appreciate that. But great celebrations from those guys. Then lastly from me, best out pregame fits. Definitely some great ones. Stephon Diggs is another guy that, as I mentioned before, he be truly on here every week. He always tries to put on a great outfit as he heads in the games. He had this real nice this week. He had a nice two-tone cardigan. Half cream, half blue, light blue, kind of UCLA colors in a way that look real nice. Under that, he had it was like a Malcolm X graphic tee that looked real cool. He had some Ralph Lauren like suede pants that looked real nice. Some Louis Vuitton shoes, I believe it was. But what made it really stand out to me why I put it on here, he had, as I said, I like all the shiesty masks and all that type of stuff. He had another mask that had a custom design on it, and it wasn't just an opening by itself. But with the opening, it was like diamond encrusted all the way around as well. They really had a nice pop to it that I hadn't seen prior to that. So yeah, definitely salute Stephon Diggs for always putting on before games and what he tends to do on and off the field. So salute to him there. Another one, Jeff Smith, the second from the Jets, had a nice. It was like Issa Miyake. It was like a red and black. It's called like a lantern poncho type coat. It was like a poncho style coat, but it had red and black kind of in a lanternish. So the lanterns light up, or the glow lanterns, like old school lantern type things, had the designs to it. The design was like that on them. And then he had some nice Chuck Taylors on his feet that all looked really good. And then lastly, Isaiah Simmons of the Cardinals had a real nice red puffer on, but had like a chrome look to it. Had a real nice, maybe it was the camera, I don't know, but had a real nice glow to it that looked real cool. He had some custom pants on that looked real cool. I believe the brand was called Rivington Roy Rebus, I believe that's how you say it. Excuse me if I get that wrong, but definitely was nice, real cool design there. So Louis V shoes on as well. And then he had another shiesty on himself, a nice mask, triple color. It was all blended in that looked real nice also. So yeah, those three definitely stood out to me as I was looking at guys, pregame fits and all of that. So salute to them. Devontae Smith and his suits, every week he has a nice suit on, so he can be mentioned. And a few other guys always do their thing. But yeah, those three definitely stood out. And those are all my stuff as we breeze through and move on. Lastly, to Alec and your MVP. Alec, who was the MVP of Week 15?
We'll see. I didn't select one specific guy as the MVP yet.
Okay.
We'll see as we talk about him. Number one, I got Josh Allen. Another Josh Allen week, kind of back to how he started off the season. 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, 77 yards rushing, big win in the snow, as you mentioned, against the Dolphins. That was a marquee divisional matchup right there.
Right.
They went on to prevail in that game amongst the conditions. Trevor Lawrence, 318, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's been top 5 QB probably the last 6-7 weeks or so. Yep. He's showing why he was a number 1 pick and why he's a highly touted prospect.
That's what I was going to mention. So salute to him.
We talked about the Jaguars last week. I think you asked me, like, I guess kind of like, what are they? And I feel like they are like a season away probably.
Yeah.
But they still have an outside shot at making the playoffs. If they win out and beat the Titans, they could win their division still, because that division is nasty. The Colts are also in it, and the Texans. So they got a shot, and he's leading the way, and he's a big part of the reason why they do have that chance at the playoffs. Number 3 on here, I didn't mention him last week. I could have. It just wasn't the sexiest of names, but he did it again this week, and it was Jerick McKinnon from the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. He had 122 all-purpose yards, 8 catches, 2 touchdowns. That's 4 touchdowns in his last 2 games, 2 apiece. So I had to give him the nod. Repeating it 2 weeks in a row.
Really has saved some folks' fantasy teams if they're still going.
Yeah, if you somehow had the balls to start Jerick McKinnon and in your flex or something, or needed to start him at the running back position, you lucked out and got 70 points in the last 2 weeks from him. So salute. And then Zay Jones, another big waiver wire guy from the last few weeks. 6 catches, 109 yards, 3 touchdowns, was absolutely abusing. I think it's Kevin Joseph, the quarterback from the Cowboys.
Yep.
Got him benched. Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence continues to target Zay Jones a heavy amount, and he's producing for them. And then lastly, Vikings wide receiver, but not the one you might expect, KJ Osborne.
Him up,
10 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown. Kirk was finding him in a major way in that second half. A huge reason why they had that 33-point comeback. And I had to give him the nod there. He had more yards than Justin Jefferson in that game. It was surprising. So give him the nod. And then honorable mention, Chandler Jones, who we talked about already.
For sure, Chandler Jones. The one more I wanted to mention is Kayvon Thibodeau for the Giants. We said the Giants were back to reality for them. They still might be, but we both picked the Commanders to win this game last week. Yep. Giants can answer the call.
Got some help from the refs.
Got a whole lot of help from the refs. That's fine. But Kayvon also had a good game himself in that. He had a fumble recovery for a touchdown, things like that in there. And yeah, definitely let's live up to the hype that folks had for him coming into the draft. So for him for living up to expectations, people died in for a second, but he's bounced back and he's looking really good. And the Giants still have some life left in them, and we'll see how the rest of the season finishes up. So yeah, salute to him. But yeah, you have the other guys I was going to mention, Trevor Lawrence and KJ Osborne, for sure we're going to be mentioned as well. So yeah, definitely salute to them for what they're doing over there. They've been great, and we're great in that last game. So yeah. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I think I might give it to Zay, just with the 3 touchdowns in that win. All of them were instrumental in getting that overtime win. So I think I'll give it to Zay this week. And I was going to say real quick, didn't mention in like the extended play section or whatever, but the interception that the Titans had where the dude like batted it back inbounds to like his teammate. I don't know if you saw that one.
I missed that. Okay.
But yeah, like Justin Herbert threw a go ball, I think, to Mike Williams in the corner.
Yeah.
And the safety, I believe, tipped it like as he was going out of bounds, tipped it to his teammet, and he caught it and got toe tapped in the corner of the end zone and got the interception. It was a crazy interception play. So check that out if you haven't seen it.
From what I've seen, guys are, I guess, nervous at times to do that out of fear of potentially tuning it back to the offense. But I always thought it'd be cool if guys tried that more often, because you always see there's a lot of plays where sideline plays are a big part of a lot of teams' offenses now, trying to squeeze things into the corners and how they can find things. And if you can take advantage of that on the defense and jump ahead of something, and if you got to jump and dive and throw it back in bounds to make it play, it could completely flip a game, as it almost did for the Titans there. So yeah, definitely I want to have to salute that for them. So yeah, that was a good play also that deserved to be noted. So yeah, good stuff across the board, great MVP stuff. Great things across the board, all over there, and yeah, great another week of the Him Zone. Lastly, with it being the Him Zone, I want to talk about him specifically. Who you have right now leading the MVP race?
Right now, it would still have to be Jalen Hurts for me. I think Patrick Mahomes is right there as number 2. I don't know who would be my solidified number 3. Josh is in the conversation, of course. I don't know. Is there another name that jumps out to you immediately? I think Joe Burrow is in the conversation too.
It seems to be a 2-man race, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it really it seems like it's Hurts and Mahomes above the rest for the most part. Yeah, just looking at these other teams. Yeah. I'd have like Allen slightly distant 3rd and Burrow probably 4.
Right.
But yeah.
So yeah, definitely a 2-man race. Who you have ahead is it changes week by week, it seems. Right now, Hurts is the guy, and I agree with you in that as well. But yeah, with him being out for the moment, there's a chance that Mahomes jumps ahead if he doesn't lose any his game going forward too. So yeah, definitely a fun race. Excited to see how it plays out. Definitely didn't fully expect it to go out like this. We may have saw Mahomes in the race, but we didn't expect Jalen to have the jump that he did. So definitely him in that. And yeah, excited for all on the way with them and across the league. So good things with him. And lastly, with it being week 15, as we say, every 3 weeks we're going to do our them rankings, our Super Bowl rankings, and all that type of stuff. So we want to revisit that and make our picks and go from there. Then we'll do our quick picks and get out of here. So open this back up real quick.
I think it should be a little bit faster too, just as we kind of know who these teams are more so at this point. Yeah.
First off, I guess real quick, I will show this, and that is our picks from a few weeks ago. These were as of week 12.
Okay.
So we had the Chiefs at 1, Niners at 2, Dolphins at 3, Bills at 4, Cowboys at 5, Eagles at 6, Bengals at 7, Vikings at 8, Ravens at 9, Titans at 10, and then some notables. The Patriots were at 15. The Bucks were still at like 17. The Lions were at 21. The Broncos were at 26. The Rams were at 31. The Texans were at 32. So yeah, definitely some things I could see shifting around already.
I'll play some shuffling in the top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was excited to see how it plays out. So let's open this up and get into it. Not waste too much time.
For sure.
All right, so here we go. Back at it again. Of course, first, as always, shout out to the State Hot Pod. Shout out to Blady, Theo Ash, Spawn Hour, all those guys over there doing their thing. Excited to use this yet again and make our picks to update our list one another time this season. Fun things there. And yeah, let's jump into it and not waste too much time. So week 15, power rankings. Who we got first? Titans and Commanders.
I got Commanders here.
Seahawks and Bucks.
I got Seahawks.
Steelers and Niners.
Niners.
Jets and Eagles.
Eagles.
Saints and Giants.
Giants.
Vikings and Pats.
Vikings.
Rams and Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Raiders and Chargers.
Chargers.
Jags and Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Texans and Colts.
Colts.
Lions and Packers.
Lions.
Cowboys and Broncos.
Cowboys.
Bengals and Browns.
Bengals.
Panthers and Bears.
Panthers? Yeah, Panthers. Yeah.
Ravens and Bills.
Bills.
Cardinals and Falcons.
I think Falcons.
Bucks and Titans.
Titans.
Titans and Seahawks.
Give it to the Seahawks.
Seahawks and Commanders.
What do you say?
I think Seahawks.
Yeah, it's close.
I'll just go Seahawks.
Okay.
Jets and Steelers.
Jets.
Niners and Jets.
Niners.
Niners and Eagles.
I'll give the nod to the Eagles.
Okay. Pats and Saints.
Oh, boy. This is the first stumper. First
mid-off, like kind of soft.
I think it's
Pats.
Pats. Pats. They have 2 more wins.
That's fine. Giants and Pats.
It was just a nasty loss.
Yeah.
Giants.
Vikings and Giants.
Vikings.
Raiders and Rams.
Raiders.
Dolphins and Raiders.
Dolphins.
Chargers and Dolphins.
Chargers.
Texans and Jags.
Jags.
Jags and Colts.
Jags.
Broncos and Packers.
Packers.
Packers and Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Cowboys and Lions.
Cowboys.
Bears and Browns.
Browns.
Browns and Panthers.
I still say Browns.
Cardinals and Ravens.
Ravens.
Ravens and Falcons.
Ravens.
Steelers and Bucks.
Bucks.
Bucks and Jets.
Jets.
Jets and Titans.
I think they're both 7-7. With the QB question marks, I'll say Titans.
On both sides.
I'll say Titans. So
Titans and Niners.
Niners.
Niners and Commanders.
Niners.
Niners and Seahawks.
Niners.
Rams and Saints.
Saints.
Saints and Raiders.
Raiders.
Raiders and Pats.
Pats.
Didn't the Raiders just win that though?
They did. Raiders.
Okay. Hey, either way, that's what I mean. Giants and Raiders.
Giants. They still got a worse record, but again, that was nasty. So I'll go.
That's fine. Dolphins and Giants.
Dolphins.
Vikings and Dolphins.
They're on a 3-game slide. Vikings.
Chargers and Vikings.
I'd take the Chargers. What about you?
I'm fine with that. Broncos and Texans.
Broncos.
Colts and Broncos.
Broncos.
Broncos and Jags.
Jags.
Jags and Packers.
Jags.
Jags and Lions.
Lions.
Chiefs and Lions.
Chiefs.
Chiefs and Cowboys.
That's tough because their defense is bad. I still say the Chiefs, though.
That's fine. Cardinals and Bears.
I think those are similar spots teams. Cardinals, though.
Panthers and Cardinals.
Panthers.
Panthers and Falcons.
Saints, Falcons, and Panthers are all 5-9.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter that much.
It really doesn't matter. Panthers, yes.
Panthers, Ravens.
Ravens.
Ravens, Browns.
Yeah. I would say Ravens, but they just lost to them.
Lost, so
We got Lamar coming back. I'll still say the Ravens.
Bengals, Ravens.
Bengals.
Bengals, Bills.
Bengals.
Rams, Steelers.
Steelers.
Steelers, Saints.
Steelers.
Pats, Steelers.
Pats.
Pats, Bucks.
Both these teams are bad.
Tom Brady, older, Tom or Bill?
I'll go Bill. I'll go Pats.
Pats or Jets?
Jets.
Jets or Raiders?
Jets.
Jets or Giants?
Battle of New York. I'll go Giants.
Titans or Giants?
Go Giants.
Giants or Commanders? Giants just won that.
They did. I'll give them the nod because they'll win, the Giants.
Seahawks or Giants?
I feel like this game happened a couple weeks ago. I'd take the Seahawks in the playoffs. So I'll go Seahawks.
Seahawks or Dolphins?
Dolphins.
Dolphins or Niners?
Niners.
Niners or Vikings?
Niners.
Niners or Chargers?
Niners.
Bears or Texans?
Bears.
Bears or Colts?
Bears.
Bears or Broncos?
I'll take the Broncos. They showed some signs of life. But
Broncos or Cardinals?
I'll go Broncos.
Falcons or Broncos?
Broncos.
Broncos or Panthers?
Broncos.
Broncos or Browns?
Browns.
Browns or Packers?
Ooh. What do you think?
Mid-off, so it don't really make a difference to me. Browns, I guess.
They're both 6 and 8.
Actually,
Packers. Better QB right now, currently.
Yeah. Packers or Ravens?
Ravens.
Ravens or Jags?
What do you say? They just beat y'all.
They did. But you also earlier, I thought it was just based off kind of what we see here just now.
But there's a little projection for the next 3.
A little projection also. And projection-wise, with Lamar coming back, that's the X factor. So Lamar with the Ravens or the rolling. We also did the same thing with the Jags. The first week we did this ranking, and then the next 3 weeks the Jags lost. So it's like as soon as we
Ravens ate the Chiefs, though. The Ravens ate the Chiefs.
That's fine, but I'm saying for the Jags be like, as soon as we boost up, they fall down again.
I will say the Jags have the Jets, the Texans, and the Titans, so they have winnable games.
Correct.
The Ravens also
ahead is fine. I'm just saying it's backfired before also.
I'll go Ravens, but
that's fine.
The Jags are peaking.
Yeah, Ravens and Lions. Lions are peaking also.
Yeah. I think I like the Lions a little bit more. So I like the Lions a little bit more than the Jags.
I'll give it to you. Lions or Bills?
I go the Bills.
Bills or Cowboys?
That's tough. I think the Bills right now, though.
Bills or Chiefs?
I go Chiefs.
Chiefs or Bengals?
Bengals.
Texans or Rams?
Rams.
Rams or Colts?
Rams.
Rams or Bears?
Rams.
Rams or Cardinals?
Rams.
Rams or Falcons?
Baker over McCoy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Falcons.
Falcons or Saints?
It doesn't matter. Pick one.
Falcons. Falcons, Steelers?
Steelers.
Steelers, Panthers? They just played, didn't they?
A couple weeks ago.
Steelers won that? I thought it was last week. I don't know.
No, it's a different team now. It's Trubisky versus Sam Darnold now.
Yeah. And Sam we trust? Sam I am?
Neither one we trust. I don't know, man. You pick one.
I give the Steelers their respect. Whatever. Steelers, Broncos.
It's the nasty ones at the end that are.
Yeah, we're almost there though. Almost there.
Steelers,
Browns, Bucks, Packers.
I really don't know. These teams are bad. Packers, I guess they're having a little bit better.
Patriots, Jags, Raiders, Jags, Jets.
They're playing, right?
I think so.
This is the Thursday game.
Yeah.
I got Jags in the game, so I'll go Jags.
Jags, Titans.
I'll go Jags.
Ooh.
No, you're good. You didn't click it yet. You almost did.
Commanders or Jags.
That's tough. I think I slightly go Jags.
Jags, Giants.
I think the same there. I think I slightly go Jags.
Jags, Seahawks.
Yeah, I think I slightly go Jags there too.
Jags, Dolphins.
I'll go Dolphins.
Ravens, Dolphins.
I think I'd go Dolphins. It's close.
Lions, Dolphins. Dolphins, Cowboys.
I'll say Cowboys.
I don't trust neither of them. Cowboys, Vikings.
I feel like it'd be looking scary for Tua in the backfield with Michael Parsons coming after him, though.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Vikings. I like the Cowboys more. Both about to have disappointing playoffs, though.
Yeah, Cowboys, Chargers.
That's interesting. I think I'd go Cowboys. I don't know about you.
I'm fine with that. Cowboys, Niners. Bills. Niners, Chiefs.
I think Niners. I think they're a little more complete.
Niners, Bengals.
That one's more interesting to me.
That's a fun game right there.
Yeah, that is. You think Purdy can keep it up?
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a solid job.
About Purdy, to be honest, he just does what he needs to do.
Yeah, he does a solid job. He stepped right into the Jimmy G role. Has been Jimmy G. That'd be a fun Super Bowl.
Very.
Huh.
Might have to go to the debate for that one.
I think they're both 10-4. Yeah. Huh. This one's stumping me. Because I clearly give Burrow the edge. I clearly give their 49ers defense the edge.
I also add this. We saw what happened with Debo. I think he's back or on his way back, but that could be a factor in that game.
Could. Although the Bengals defense is playing pretty well.
Outside of that, it's pretty even.
It is. I think slightly the Niners, but yeah.
And there we have it. Where you go? Oh, well, first, shout out to Stay Hot Pod again. Make sure don't want to have no issues. But here we have it. So here's our new updated ranking. So we have the Eagles at 1. Is that right? I guess so. Eagles at 1, not Niners at 2, Bengals at 3, Chiefs at 4, Bills at 5, Cowboys at 6, Chargers at 7, Vikings at 8, Dolphins at 9, Lions at 10, and the Ravens for the first time are outside the top 10, I believe, now at 11. Yeah. And then some notables, Jags are 12, the Titans are at 16, the Jets are now on the right side. We said how exclusive the listening to. The Jets are on the right side again at 17. The Raiders have now gotten up to 18. They were at 1.32. They've jumped up to 18. Yep. The Packers are at 20. The Broncos are at 24. Yep. The Rams are at 28 now. The Colts have fallen down to 31, and the Texans are still at 32. So, yeah, definitely. I think I like this list as is. I'm fine. I think we did a good job with it.
Yeah, I really like the top 10. Baltimore could potentially be right in there at 10, like over the Lions, but
Sure.
Lions have been 6-1 the last 7. So
based on momentum right now, that's how it has to be, and I'm fine with that. I give the
Mhm.
Lions their credit. They're a fun team to watch. Like I said,
Very
they
much
didn't
so.
believe what Goff did, and he's been answering the call in that squad. So I'm gonna keep saying it until it falls apart. Lions holding it down over there. Shout out to Dan Campbell and the boys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think I'm really surprised by any of the placements. I think it's pretty spot on with what we've seen through these first 15.
I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great ranking there. Excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. Any projection for our last ranking? Anything you look forward to? Anyone you see jumping up even higher? Anyone you see falling down a whole lot? Anything?
That Bengals 49ers was probably the hardest decision to make there.
Correct.
I think those are my two conference favorites right now. Bengals in the AFC, 49ers in the NFC. I had to give the Eagles their respect with only having one loss. I still don't feel like they've been tested, but only one loss on the season, and Jalen playing at MVP level. So got to give them that number one spot. And I think they'll have a solid hold on that.
Yeah.
Anyone from the right side that I think can go to the left, maybe. The Packers have an outside shot. They got to win this week against the Dolphins, though.
Correct.
Pats, I don't think it's going to happen. Jets, it's rough with their QB situation. I don't really see anyone from the right going to the left.
The Bucks being at 21, but technically being in the playoffs because of how things are shaping out is disgusting.
Yuck.
Yeah. So outside of that, yeah, I don't really see anything else changing either. But that's to me immediately. So yeah, we'll see. I like the list. I think it's all good as played out. Let us know what you guys think about the list and all that in the comments and all that good stuff.
I'll say Minnesota fans, the Vikings could be slightly higher, but that comeback did not move me, which we'll talk about.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So good stuff there. And then we appreciate y'all and all of that. And now, lastly, as we do, we'll get to our quick picks and then we'll get out of here. So definitely another fun week of football ahead. Our holiday weekend, quick picks, definitely excited to talk about it all. Some good things going on across the board. 4 days of football: Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah.
So
NFL trying to take over our entire week.
If you got a bunch of coal in your stocking, you got a gift at least in football all weekend long to watch. Even alongside that. So good stuff ahead. And we'll jump into it. So Christmas weekend, quick picks, week 16. Let's do it. Thursday, Jaguars at Jets. Jets at 1.5 points. Who you got?
I think I already spoiled it. I got the Jaguars in this game. I think they're playing really well. They've had a little bit of up and down. Like they had games like this, and then they have surprising losses. I think they win this one though against either a banged up Mike White or a Zach Wilson, who they kind of try to hide in that offense because he's prone to turn the ball over. I like the Jaguars in this matchup. While the Jets do have a good defense, but I like the Jags.
The Jets have a good defense, but the Jags put up points. I'm gonna intentionally. I know we've kind of been doing it before, where we just have had all the same picks. I'm gonna see. I already have my picks set. Hopefully, we don't have all the same picks this week. But to start off, I'm going with the Jags as well. I think Trevor Lawrence and the boys put up another big game against Mike White or whoever's in the backfield for the Jets there. So good stuff there. I will ask this too, though. Both of these teams are two young teams on the rise. Who's a better young core, Jags or the Jets?
My first instinct is Jets because of Garrett Wilson being an exceptional wide receiver. Still got Elijah Moore there, who feels a little underutilized.
Garrett, Elijah, Sauce, Brees technically still there.
Defense, the running back, Brees. Yeah.
Zonovan looks good for right now. He's a young guy. I think he's new also.
I think I will lean Jets. I wasn't even thinking about the defensive guys too. But
Right.
the Jags do have really good young talent as well. And Trevor Lawrence might be like the generational guy of all of the players too. So that has to have a little bit more weight. But I think I will say the Jets young core. I think they have a good future.
Or I guess it's the sake of a slight debate. I'm gonna go Jags, just see, because I maintain at least some faith in Trevor Lawrence. People wrote him off pretty quick after his first season with all the Urban Meyer fiasco things going on, and said he wasn't as good as believed. And he's now been a damn near top 10, even higher potentially quarterback for these last few weeks. Yet again. So I put him in my MVP race early on. He disappointed me for a little while, but now he's back. At least maybe not MVP, but putting up great performances yet again. So with having a guy at that level, the sky is the limit. Even though the Jets have all those other pieces around them, they have everything but the quarterback. So it's quarterback or the full core. And I'm gonna be quarterback in this regard. I'm believing that Trevor Lawrence, now that he's getting some support around him, can really take this Jags team far going forward. So fun things there. Moving on, a whole bunch of games on Saturday. Bills at Bears. Bills at 9 points. Who you got?
Got the Bills. Don't really need much discussion there, but Justin Fields is sensational.
Yeah. You kind of wrote off the Bills in a way, saying that once Von Miller went down, that they were no longer true contenders, but they still look
only writing off their Super Bowl chances.
Sure. So to that question, is it Super Bowl or bust for the Bills still, or no? I guess you already answered it, but Super Bowl or bust for the Bills?
I think they have to feel that way. Yeah, that it's Super Bowl or bust.
Okay.
Me personally, I don't think so, but I think they should be thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it still is, even with Von Miller out. I know, again, how much of an injury that detriment that is to them. But seeing how much talent still is on that squad, they still have to have that goal and still appear to be on track to have a run at least close to that. So, it's a roll or bust for the Bills still. Moving on, Saints at Browns. Browns at 2.5 points.
I do not care. Browns. I'll go with the Browns.
I'm actually going to go Saints in that one. I think there's pieces there with Kamara, and sometimes you see go off.
Yeah.
Say that again?
The Kamara's been very disappointing this year.
It's disappointing, but I think they've shown that they found ways with other guys on the offense. Juwan Johnson's been a light somehow. I think Rashid Shaheed, I believe his name is, has shown flashes at times alongside Olave and all the other main pieces that we know to be there. I think with this Brown squad that's still taking off rust, we just saw only put up 13 points, even though it was because of the Ravens' defense. I think the Saints will have opportunities to win this game. And though it's a tough ask because the Saints have been up and down, I think the Saints get it done this week. So I'm going Saints there. Moving on, Texans at Titans. Titans at just 3 points.
Feels a little disrespectful while the Titans have had their struggles. Texans have been very plucky the last couple of weeks, though, so maybe that's why the line is closer.
Correct.
They've given teams scares.
They fight still.
Scares the last couple of weeks, but I think the Titans should win this one. Probably not a blowout, like a touchdown.
Right.
Probably is what they win by.
Blowing anybody out. They don't have enough talent for that just yet, but they will get the win. So I agree, Titans win that as well.
You didn't have
for fantasy purposes, I need a Derrick Henry masterclass there.
I was gonna say you didn't have a question there, but he's had that record of running for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns against the Texans the last 4 meetings or whatever. So you think he does that again?
I hope so. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have a firm yes for fantasy purposes, as I made my way into the playoff. I barely got in, thank God. I had a lot of injuries and things, and I mentioned the trades.
Your team name is Prayer Works. So.
Yeah, Prayer Works. Again, that was for other reasons. I'll tell you all later, but I found my way in. I had cheated at first because I had Diggs and I had Devontae, and then I had DeAndre. And I traded all those guys to even the playing field thanks to the equalizer. And I still found my way in. So, we'll see.
Yeah, you got Josh Allen now, so.
Yeah, but I got Jonathan Taylor, and Jonathan Taylor's out. So
that's
we'll see if ETN and Zonovan Knight can do enough.
Eric Henry and ETN still a nice 1-2 at the run.
Yeah, we shall see. So, but for sure, with Henry there also, I need a big game from him. And he'll do that versus the Texans there. So, good things there. Moving on, Seahawks at Chiefs. Chiefs at 10 points.
I got the Chiefs. 10 might be a little lofty.
I'm surprised that's 10 points.
Yeah, just because the Seahawks their defense is bad, so they're probably going to give up points.
Yeah.
But their offense is solid, and the Chiefs' defense is very good. So I think it'll be a little bit closer than 10. Maybe it ends up being 10 at the end because of garbage time, but I think it'll be a closer game than that line shows. But I'll go with the Chiefs.
I got a shootout with the Chiefs winning at the end. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun game to watch for sure. Moving on, Giants at Vikings. Vikings at 4 points.
I'll go with the Giants.
I'm gonna go Vikings there. Though the Giants have been impressive, I think the Vikings somehow kind of the same way as the Eagles that keeps I guess skating by in a way because of their schedule. They have enough talent to get past this Giants squad that's trying to get it on the upswing though. And at home, though I have to say that home games for the Vikings are actually home games for the other team.
Right.
I think the Vikings will still find a way to get this one done. So going Vikings there. And the question is, did the comeback versus the Colts change your mind at all about the Vikings this season?
Absolutely not. That did not move me one bit. Are you serious? Why are you down 33 points to the Indianapolis Colts led by Jeff Saturday and no Jonathan Taylor for much of that first half and the rest of the game? Like, no, not that. I'm less impressed by the comeback than I am like. It's more of an indictment on how bad the Colts are to me. Because you should not be blowing a 33-point lead in a half. Like, they only put up, I guess, a field goal in overtime or whatever. They only put up a field goal in a half and overtime. So, no, I'm not impressed by the Vikings coming back on the second worst team in football.
Jonathan Taylor had a slight ankle injury. After they blew that game, they're like, you know what? Go ahead and sit for the season. You don't need to come back. Let's not waste our time. Go ahead and go home. We're not looking about it.
He had a high ankle sprain, so those are tough.
Sure. But it was what it was. But I agree with you that no, the Vikings did what they should have did from the jump. And coming back versus the Colts and being frauds. This did not change anything. I mean,
that doesn't help their case to me. Like,
no, not at all. So I'm with you there. Moving on, Bengals at Patriots. Bengals at 3 points.
Pretty easy Bengals pick for me. I think this Patriots team is in like treading water, but they're not the greatest. And I think the Bengals are AFC favorites for me. So
correct.
The Bengals.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got Bengals also, and you kind of answered it. The Bengals are true Super Bowl contenders again this season?
Yeah, I believe they are. I wasn't sure coming into the season. I felt like they had a really tough schedule. I only had them at 10 wins on the season, and they can potentially get 13 if they win out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree that they have definitely answered the call and have had a nice bounce back. Opposite of the hangover that the Rams have had after theirs. So, yes, them and excited to see how
owns Mahomes too. So
yeah, that too. So excited to see how this plays out again for them. So good stuff there. Moving on, Lions at Panthers. Lions at 2.5 points.
I'll go with the Lions here.
Same. Their win streak continue. I think they're 6-1 in the last 7 games, and they continue on against this Panthers squad that is decent and I guess somewhat respectable. But the Lions on the roll that they are should be able to handle this squad. And I'll ask us about them as well. The Lions are the scariest underdog in the league right now. In that for teams that are like wild card range or whatever the case may be, there's one team you don't want to face right now of that group. The Lions are top of that list.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I understood the question immediately. I agree with that question. I think they are definitely the scariest. You could probably put like the Jaguars in there too. They're 6-8 and coming off some good football games. So they're right there. But yeah, I think I'd have the Lions as the scariest because from the start of the season, they've been one of the best offenses in the league by their point total output each week. So they've already been a great offense, and then their defense has gotten better in the last few weeks, and they're figuring out how to put together wins. Like that's been the hardest thing for Detroit for years, just winning football games. So
I'm gonna keep saying it. They didn't believe, but Goff did. Goff answered the call. I say it from before the season.
I don't think it was just Goff, but yeah.
Huh?
I said I don't think it was just Goff, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but Goff is. I'm just saying there. I believed in Goff from the beginning of the season. Didn't think the shot party would go, but it's panned out even greater than expected already. Even though they are just 7-7, they are a very hot team right now. That I agree is the scariest underdog.
Yeah, they started 1-6, so
yeah.
I wouldn't say just 7-7. That's a great.
They've had. We were calling for Dan Campbell's head for a moment, and they've since then bounced back and look like it's a team that is very much on the upswing. And again, scariest underdog in the league. So just look to them there. Moving on, Falcons at Ravens. Ravens at 7 points.
I like the Ravens here. With Desmond Ridder under center, I don't really have a lot of faith in the Falcons right now. So I'm going to go with the Ravens. Regardless if Lamar plays or not, I think the Ravens can win this game.
I'm saying Ravens, but I'm going to say if Lamar is out, that the Falcons will have a very solid chance because of the lack of production from the offense. So it may not be 7, it might be 3, but the Ravens will find a way. But also I wanted to say too, at the same time, also it's somewhat of a, I guess, must win for the Ravens in that they posted. I saw the post, and it actually kind of worried me, to be honest. They're posting like Ravens like playoff punching scenarios, and they posted like 10 scenarios like the Ravens have to win, the Dolphins have to lose or tie, the Patriots have to lose, or all this other stuff for things that I'm like
3 weeks left. Why are we doing this?
I'm like, just win your games, and everything else will fall in line. So the fact that they're posting scenarios, just in case we lose again, guys, we still get in if this all happens. Like I don't want to see that. Hopefully they just handle business and do things to do this week and going forward. So I'm going Ravens, but I'm taking less than the 7 that they're giving them. So we'll see how that will play out. Moving on, Commanders at Niners. Niners at just 7 points.
Yeah, definitely going with the Niners here. I think
I agree. I got the Niners as well. And I'll ask this, something that we did not expect. The Niners are at their best with Purdy under center.
I don't believe so. I think he's kept them exactly like where they would be with Jimmy G. No more, no less. I think like he's been great as the backup, but I don't think he's been exceptionally better than what Jimmy G can be. So
it doesn't have to be necessarily exceptionally better, but keeping them in the same space, a few, I guess, maybe fewer question marks in regards to, I guess, throws that we've definitely frowned upon Jimmy G for making. I guess in comparison to Jimmy G, I think he is in a better under center for them than Jimmy G was. Though Jimmy G definitely is a respectable quarterback, he did come up short only in the biggest of games that he did get them to.
Yeah, he's one of the best game managers
now. Jimmy G and the question marks that were surrounding him. I think Purdy under there and the confidence that he has with that squad and just running the offense as Shanahan needs him to run it without any extras potentially going on, I think is exactly what he needs to be doing and keeps this Niners squad as intended. So I'm just going to say yes to that question.
You think they'd prefer to have Purdy under center than Jimmy G?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm saying yes to that. Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. We both just had them. We just had ranking and had them add third in the rankings and had them. And we just talked about Super Bowl preview potentially or a Super Bowl matchup that we like to see between them and the Bengals. So Purdy there, I still be perfectly fine with. So yeah, I'm definitely rolling with them still. And yeah, just excited to see how that continues to play out. Moving on, Eagles at Cowboys. Cowboys at 4.5 points. And you saw I said that. All the hype from this game is pretty much gone. The Cowboys lost last week. Jalen Hurts is potentially out. Gardner Minshew is going to be starting for them. So all the hype leading up to this was snapped in an instant. So yeah, it's just kind of another game this week, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to give caveat. I think regardless, Cowboys win. I was going to say if Jalen's in, Eagles might get that just because of how the Cowboys have been playing recently. That's scary against the Texans, but I'm gonna stick with the Cowboys regardless. I think the Cowboys win it.
The way you have maintained your lack of faith in the Eagles, I've maintained my lack of faith in the Cowboys. And though things have, I guess, lightened in the sense that Hurts is not going to be under center for the Eagles this week, I still think the Eagles find a way, actually, even in Dallas, find a way with Minshew to get the win there. Because of all else is on that squad still. Minshew, I think, can do just enough for them to get the victory with the Cowboys squad that, lets teams linger around a lot longer than they should at times. And yeah, just always has always struggled in the clutch as we've seen most other things. So I think the Eagles actually find a way to get the win there. So good stuff there. And then hopefully, I don't think Jalen Hurts isn't done for the season, so he'll be back shortly, and we will continue on with their great season.
Right.
That being the case, and the Cowboys still being in decent position, can this be potentially an NFC Championship preview?
I think it can be, but it's up to the Cowboys to hold up that end of the bargain, because I do believe the Eagles will get there.
Yeah.
But I believe that it depends how it shakes out with the matchups, but I believe that the 49ers would make it before the Cowboys would.
Yeah.
I have a little bit more faith in them than I
So do I. Like I said, I don't believe in this Cowboys squad. As fun as it is to watch from the regular season, once things really matter, they're a whole different squad. And I don't think they're going to actually get.
Part of my lack of faith, too, is the defense was like one of the more elite in the league, but recently their cornerbacks, other than Trayvon Diggs, he's been great. But other than Trayvon Diggs, they've been getting picked on.
Yeah.
As you saw in that Jaguars game where Zay Jones was picking on Joseph and he got benched. Yeah. So, they haven't been as locked down as they were to start the season.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. And, interesting to see how that goes forward. Moving on, Raiders at Steelers. Steelers at 2.5 points.
Another really I don't care game. I'll go with the Raiders in this one.
I was going to say, it's another I don't care game, another mid-off type game. They have the same record exactly and all that type of stuff. And the difference would be what stars, if there are any stars on either squad, can step up. And the Raiders having Josh Jacobs and Devontae, I think will be the X factor there. I think they get the job done even in Pittsburgh. So good stuff across all the Saturday games. Christmas Eve certainly is going to be a fun day with all the stuff going on there. Then Christmas Day itself, Sunday, 3 games going on that day, which sadly aren't as good as any of the games on Saturday. But we'll still be watching just because of the day that it is. But here we go.
I'll be watching basketball.
I'll probably watching basketball. Broncos at Rams, 2 4-10 squads facing off. Broncos at 3.5 points. Who you got?
Yeah, I know the NFL, when they scheduled this at the beginning of the season, were like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a marquee playoff atmosphere." Now they're both 4-10.
Yeah, disgusting.
I'll go with the Broncos. I think Russ is supposed to be a go for the game now, and the defense is really good. So I'll go with the Broncos.
Rams at home. I'll go Rams.
Faith in Baker. Okay.
I guess. I don't really have further explanation around that. I'm just going to go with the Rams in that one and see how it plays. But we'll ask this, as you mentioned, 2 teams that were supposed to be marquee now being very underperforming. I'm looking forward. Who have a better bounce back next season, Rams or Broncos?
I think the Broncos have like some of the pieces to have a quicker bounce back already, but I will actually lean with the Rams because I trust their front office to be a little bit more what's the word? Wow, I'm blanking on the word.
Strategic?
No, like the opposite of inept. Competent. I trust them to be more competent than the Broncos front office. And how they brought in Nathaniel Hackett and extended Russ before he even played it down. I trust them to make more winning type moves in the front office in the Rams. And then they have Sean McVay already as the head coach, who I trust, and I believe in him as a play caller. So I think they have some of like the foundational things that'll be better going forward, while the Broncos may have some more talent currently.
Yeah, that's my point as well. I think the Rams have a better core than the Broncos do. Beyond on the field, just top to bottom of their core there. That will know how to get them back on track. So, I believe the Rams also a better bounce back next season also. So, good stuff there. Another Sunday game, Packers at Miami at the Dolphins. Dolphins just at 4 points.
Man, the Miami should win this game. I'll go with Miami. The Packers don't inspire a lot of faith in me. I think the Packers can win this game though if they pound the ball on the ground and like commit to it. But the Packers, I don't have enough faith in how they've played this year. So I'm gonna go with the Dolphins.
I totally hear that, but actually I'm gonna go with the Packers myself. Okay. I think.
You think they lose? You think Dolphins lose 4 in a row? That's part of why I'm not.
Well, I'll use the question I was going to ask to further that. And the question was, who needs to win more? And my thought
Packers
was
need to win more.
Packers needing to win more. Rodgers knowing what the situation is. He described it. He laid it out last week. The whole team knows what it is. We've seen the run game get reestablished. AJ Dillon has reemerged. Aaron Jones is still back there. Now they have a threat, at least one threat for sure. And Watson, Romeo Dobbs is now back with after a week and is able to start getting his feet back under him and on the field and things. I think with the offense and the team coming together at the very last straw, I think they'll be able to pull off enough stuff to compete and get the win. And it's a Dolphins squad who, as you just mentioned, is reeling a little bit, losing their last three. So I see the Packers find a way actually to get it done at the Packers.
That would be that'd be the biggest win of the season for them.
Absolutely.
I'm not really shocked, I guess, by anything now in the NFL, like how these games, how I think they should go, is sometimes the completely opposite. So
yeah, and then to that point, two teams that we had a little bit higher expectations for that have fallen off. Also, another game on Sunday full of disappointment. Another cold game, I guess, on Sundays. The Bucks and the Cardinals. The Bucks at 7.5 points somehow.
I think the Bucks should win it. Colt McCoy back there under center.
Sure, but the Bucks offense isn't good enough to say that they're going to blow anybody out.
No, I don't think it'll be a blowout necessarily, but I do think the Bucks will win this game. And Kingsbury somehow still has a job.
Yeah, they'll probably wait till after the season at this point. Just go ahead and finish it out, and then we'll get rid of you. So it's what it is. But yeah, I got the Bucks also. So interesting things on Sunday. I guess I'll ask if we already kind of answered it, but who owns Christmas, NBA or NFL?
NBA still owns it. Like, that's part of why I look forward to Christmas now as an adult. Like, yeah, the gifts are cool, food's cool, family's cool, but I'm looking forward to the big matchups in the NBA on Christmas Day. So for me, it's still the NBA. The NFL, maybe if they had some better matchups, I would kind of be more in tune with that. But as we just discussed, these three games aren't great beyond Packers, Dolphins. So
I find it real quick. Where'd it go? Give me 1 second. Well, first off, I'll ask this. Our last question, Monday night, Chargers at Colts. Chargers at 4.5 points. Who you got there?
I got the Chargers. 4.5 seems very light, too.
Correct. And what I was trying to find was I went ahead and found the Christmas Day games for the NBA. And I'll ask you about these real quick. Okay. So Sixers at Knicks. Who you got in that one on Sunday?
Good game. Knicks are on like an 8-game win streak.
Correct.
And the Sixers are getting healthy. I think Maxi's still out. Is it in New York?
Yeah, at New York, at Knicks.
I think I'll still lean Sixers. I feel like stars like to go all out in New York. So Embiid has a big day. Yeah.
That should be the case, but I guess with how the Knicks have been beyond just their main guys, Brunson has looked great. Yep. And they have some guys emerging in Grimes and McBride and pieces like that. I'm not even going to go with the Knicks with the more, I guess, well-rounded team. I think Maxi's still on his way back and things of that nature. So, yeah, I'm going to go Knicks there. Moving on, Lakers at Mavs. Who you got that one?
They're close. I mean, the Mavs are, I think, the 10 seed right now.
Yeah.
The Lakers 12. So, like, they're pretty similar caliber teams right now. I guess it's going to depend. Like, if LeBron – I assume LeBron will play because it's Christmas. He's playing tonight against the Kings. I'll take the Lakers. I don't like how Dallas has been this year, really. Beyond Luka.
Lakers either, so I'm going with the Mavs for sure. I'm going with Luka in that one. So fun one there. The best game of the day, hopefully. Bucks at Celtics. Who you got in that one?
Bucks.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go Celtics. Surprisingly,
Celtics been sliding a little bit.
Celtics have been sliding, but again, on Christmas Day. Like we've been saying for the past few years.
On Christmas Day. Don't forget that.
Mine's on Christmas for sure. Absolutely. But Jason, you're trying to answer the call and show he's one of the top guys. We mentioned it on our All-Star in our first quarter picks this last week that Jason is MVP level. if he truly is up there with guys like Giannis, he's going to show. He has showed in games like this. Also, as we mentioned a few times in the past, the season really gets started and rolling on Christmas Day. So with things really starting to gear up, I think Jason wants to make his impact continue to be felt. So yeah, I think the Celtics find a way to get it done versus Giannis on Sunday, on Christmas Day. Next one, Grizzlies at Warriors. Who you got in that one?
I got the Grizzlies just because Steph's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Suns at Nuggets.
I'm mad that Zion didn't get a game because Suns Pels have been great. Though they've played like 3 times now in like 2
They
weeks.
didn't do like that rivalry brewing like it did though. So oh well. Next year for sure they'll have it.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a misstep to not have Zion. Like they were trying to get Zion in the playoffs in the bubble. That's why they extended it to 10 teams or whatever. But surprised. I will go with the Nuggets.
The Suns have been decent. They've had injuries, I believe, and all that kind of stuff, and working their way
some of those team chemistry rumblings are starting to bubble that I talked about preseason.
Just saw DeAndre Ayton fighting with Monty Williams on the sideline and things like that. So things might be shifting in the near future. So with the Nuggets being more stable right now, I'm gonna go with the Nuggets there. So good stuff there in the NFL and NBA. Excited for Christmas weekend. Happy holidays to everybody. I think you guys are tuning in. I'm sorry for stretching it again. We're trying to shorten things, but ended up going long anyways.
Yeah.
But another great episode in the books. We already have our NBA episode out right now. We'll continue to get back. As we said, NBA things start to gear up now, so we'll be sure to have more NBA content going forward. And we appreciate you guys for tuning back in. Again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, all that great stuff. We'll see you guys again, I guess at the start of the year, like next year, right? Is that what we're aiming at? Looking forward to the new year and all that's on the way. We appreciate you guys for sticking with us all this time and for showing all the love that you've been doing. And we'll see you guys then. I appreciate all the love. And we out of here, man. Peace.
Deuces.